All right. Hi, everybody. This is Frank Calderon of the Miami-Dade Department of Solid Waste, Miami-Dade County Department of Solid Waste Management. Look at that. First, right off the bat. And I'm here with a special guest, my supervisor, my boss, and friend, Robert Vargas, who is officially the division chief for the Public Information and Outreach Division. I think the name is actually a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, but
close enough.
It's close enough. That's at least our team is Public Information and Outreach.
There we go. All right, and the customer service as well. Also,
oh yeah,
in that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a lot to talk about, and not a lot of time. So let's get into it. All right. So it's July, mid-July now, or mid-late July. It's hurricane season. And today we actually have, so many times that I come here to talk about hurricane season, nothing. Well, today we actually have a tropical depression. And me being the weather geek that I am, I looked into it a little bit. It's the second tropical depression of the year. It's expected to strengthen and become a tropical storm Bertha to be exact, which would be the second named storm of the year. Actually, I don't know if I don't know if we already had one. Anyway, I don't remember the first one.
I believe it was around Mexico.
There we go. That's right. Okay. All right. So yeah, we did have a storm before. Just I didn't remember the name of it. Anyway, so yeah, this would be the second named storm of the year. The good news for us, it might be right while we're talking, it might have been named a tropical storm. I don't know yet, but it's on the cusp. It's on the cusp. So it's expected to strengthen and become I just already said that. Good news for us, though, is that it's in the northern Gulf, close to the Panhandle. Not expected to affect us at all. It's expected to go west from there towards Texas, so it's going to affect Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and parts of Texas. Or it's expected to, mostly with rain, but it's still a tropical storm. You don't want to take those things lightly. Nevertheless, even though we're mostly not going to be affected down here, it's a good reminder that we in Miami-Dade and our Miami-Dade solid waste customers need to know a few things about hurricanes and storms and how to prepare.
Well, Frank, that's a good point. It's not expected to be one of the biggest seasons of huge storms, but all you need is just that one storm.
Yep.
Memory serves me correctly. Back in when Hurricane Andrew, it was one of the first storm. It was the first storm, and of course
there might have been one more after that, but that was it.
Yeah, and for those that live down here that long, we all remember the devastation that existed. So our department makes it a point to let our customers know, please prepare with time. The last thing you want to be doing is trimming down trees when a storm is approaching, because you're going to get stuck with all those limbs and they're going to become flying projectiles, right? So plan accordingly with time. Go ahead and based on the way we do our pickups, now we schedule. So you can get an appointment for the day that your bulky can get picked up. So get that scheduled first, then work out with either yourself or your landscaper to start trimming down the trees, and then everything can get collected. Now, of course, very important, it has to be placed out 3 days before the appointment date.
3 days or less.
3 days or
less. But
less.
Not more than that.
If it's more, what's going to happen is you're going to get a warning from our enforcement unit. Reason being, many years ago, as many of you may remember, there was no time. We would say 7 to 10 days. But sometimes it would take longer. And there will be piles out there for days and weeks. And then people would get upset of all the eyesores throughout the community. So with all the outcry for a solution, this was the solution we came up with, having the appointment system, so you can pick the date that everything gets collected. But it has to be 3 days within the appointment date. That's number one. Now, if for any reason you get caught and it's kind of late in the game and there is a storm approaching, we do have our trash and recycling centers. We have 13. They go from north to south. You can just select the one that's closest to you. You can actually go to our website, look for the community services link, and look for the closest trash and recycling center to your property. And basically, you can go as many times as you need to dump off your tree cuttings. And normally, when there's a storm approaching, what we do, our working hours are 7 to 5:30, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
For the TRCs, yeah.
But normally during storm season, well, not storm season, when a storm is approaching, they
might let it go a little out, yeah,
to give everyone the opportunity to get rid of this debris.
The material, yeah.
Now, what happens if it's too late? The storm is coming, and they're not going to pick up your debris. You're going to have to put it somewhere inside your property and secure it, because if not, again, it's going to become a flying projectile. So that's the one thing we try to avoid. We try to advise every year to our customers, please be safe, plan, be ahead of the game. Don't get caught when the storm is approaching.
I've been on here quite a few times before I started doing the show on my own. I was on here with Michael quite a bit, and we would almost every time I was here, we'd talk about hurricanes. And the one thing I always do, okay, hurricane season, we're in the middle of hurricane season now. The best time to have done this was before hurricane season started. The second best time is probably now, because other than this Bertha that's coming, but not coming towards us, thankfully, it doesn't appear to be anything else out there in the ocean right now. And you know, the NOAA National Weather Center, they usually have like a week time period, but you know that there's always something that could develop nearby potentially. But right now, the weather situation looks good, because what happens is if you wait, if you're procrastinating, you're not the only procrastinator out there. And what ends up happening when a storm starts approaching, those appointment days start filling up fast.
Yes. There's a set limit.
There's a set limit of how many they can do per day.
And once those close out,
that's it. They go to the next day.
Correct.
And you may very well find yourself looking for an appointment. I got to get this taken care of before the storm, and find out, oops, there's nothing available until after the storm.
And folks, please.
So do it now.
No, and let's make something very clear. And there are some residents that thinking, I'll just dump it somewhere. That's a big no-no.
Illegal dumping.
Is illegal dumping, and that is a crime. That is a major crime with punishment where you can, pay the fees for removal.
Pay a fine.
Pay a fine. You get arrested. There's no need. We're giving you all the options necessary to keep your home, your neighbors, your community safe.
And one other note, potentially, if you get spotted dumping this somewhere else, they catch you on camera, whatever, it's not just the criminal aspect, but if some of that stuff flies into somebody's window, you can potentially be held liable financially.
Correct.
Civilly. Yeah. So, a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of things can go wrong. Very few things can go right. So what else do we have to? Oh, you know what? Since we're hurricane season, and I did the research on this, since I'm a little bit of a weather geek, just so everybody knows this, a couple of weeks ago, and I think I might have mentioned it before. I might have mentioned it on my own, the webinar that we do on Thursdays, on every other Thursday, that Colorado State University, which is the where they have the weather predictions, the hurricane season predictions, and that kind of, not to throw any shade at them, but it kind of begs the question, why is a hurricane center or hurricane prediction center in the Colorado Rockies? But I digress. And not say in Florida. They cut their prediction for this year down to 9 named storms from, I don't know, I want to say around 12 or 13 originally. 4 hurricanes, it was originally 6, and 1 major hurricane. Originally, it was 2. So they cut back the prediction, and that's because of El Nino, which this year they're expecting to be a really strong El Nino. In fact, it's supposed to peak at about the time of peak hurricane season, which is end of August into early September. So, we're catching a little bit of a break in theory, but as we mentioned at the beginning, as Robert mentioned in the beginning, when the year of Andrew was pretty. I don't know if there might have been one other hurricane that was, one of those storms that floats around in the middle of the ocean and doesn't really affect anything except maybe a few shipping lanes, besides Andrew. But Andrew, first storm of the year, and look what it did. So, all it takes is one.
And with all that rain, you know what that brings?
What?
Mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah, that brings us to our next question. We haven't had much rain this year in general, but that hasn't stopped the mosquitoes.
No, that's I live down south, and I'm caught between
it's those saltwater marsh mosquitoes,
all the national parks, and it is crazy. So it is a very active month or active year right now, and we're telling everyone, if you are suffering from a lot of mosquito nuisance, hey, by all means, call 311, schedule an inspection. And I just want to clarify one thing. These service requests, we cannot just spray. We have to inspect first and find that there are mosquitoes breeding in the area. Once that is confirmed, we can go ahead and spray. And or whatever type of protection or
well, they use data. They
whatever to mitigate the issue. That's what they'll do. But there are different ways to request these inspections. So again, I said 311. You can also use the website miami-dade.gov/mosquitoes. You can go to the 311 app. So there are different ways. You can even go to the solid waste app, which will take you to the site for the mosquito inspection. So there are different ways to do it. And please understand that needs to happen first before we can do any type of spraying. But in the meantime, I know it's hot, but if you're going, let's say early in the morning or dusk, when it starts getting darker, wear long sleeves, long pants. It really helps. And then, of course, the repellent, all the different types of repellent. I had my family and I, we went to a 4th of July show, and I told my family, let's wear the long pants, short, the pants and all that, and we were fine. And I kept seeing people slapping their legs and all that, just because they were wearing shorts. And of course, we're in South Florida, but you just need to take that little extra step for protection from all the mosquito bites and stuff.
Yeah, it's important to note with a lot of times I'll see it too, because we have a customer service email mailbox, and people just write in, I need you to come to my house and spray. And like you said, it doesn't work that way. That's part of the reason why we ask people to log in the request either by calling 311 or by going online. Because those requests get logged, and when we see a large number of requests coming from a certain area, that's one of the data points we use for actually going out and inspecting first, and then if we see that it's warranted, then we will spray. But in addition to that, we use these series of traps, 300 plus traps countywide. The traps are not there for reducing the mosquito population, because we could never put enough traps to do that. But the traps are there to measure how many mosquitoes are in different areas. It tells us a lot. It tells us, not only obviously a picture of how many, an idea of how many mosquitoes are in a particular area or neighborhood, but also what species, because some species bite, some don't. And of the ones that bite, some can pass disease and some don't. It tells you if you have male or female mosquitoes. Only the female mosquitoes can bite. It tells you, it can even, they can even have the mosquitoes, some of the mosquitoes tested, and it's not one, we don't do it ourselves in house, but they ship it out to the Florida Medical Entomology Lab, I believe it's called, FMEL, and they can actually test the mosquitoes to see if any of those mosquitoes are carrying diseases. So there's a lot of things we can find out from doing that, and that's another data point that we use to justify, going out for inspection and potentially for spraying for mosquitoes. So that's why we need that information. That's why we insist on our customers, please call 311 or go to the they both end up in the same spot, and it gives us the data points that we need to be able to effectively and follow the law, basically, as far as like when we can spray.
Remind me again, especially that we're in summer, wear sunscreen, wear repellent. Which is the order?
You're asking me to remember something?
Come on, Frank.
I can't even remember my own name. Okay.
It should be sunscreen
first and then the repellent.
Yes.
Because you put the repellent on and then you put the sunscreen, you're covering up the repellent, and just so it doesn't work.
I heard you were a great softball player. I was, lobbing a pitch at you. That's okay. I got your back. But yes, that's very important. And remember, the types of repellents: DEET, picaridin,
IR 3535, which is I believe the active ingredient in Avon Skin So Soft, and the last one is lemon oil of eucalyptus, which is considered the natural one. The one thing, if you're going to use that one, is you do need to reapply it a little bit more frequently, like maybe every 6 hours. Personally, pro tip here, my favorite type is picaridin. It helps also with ticks in case you're out there in the woods. But beyond that, you can actually spray it on your clothes with very little risk of damage.
And most importantly, to those families, to the children, it's a lot healthier. So,
yeah,
our little tips for mosquito control.
All right. Oh, yeah. One other thing we do with mosquito control that I should note is the Florida Department of Health. Now, when you go to the doctor and if you've been sick, one of the questions you notice that the doctor's going to ask you is, have you been out of the country in the last 30 days? And when there's a mosquito-borne illness, that tells the health department that, if you were traveling when you got this illness, or if you got it here in Miami, that's when they, here in Miami-Dade. And that's how they tell, when they say locally transmitted case, or, somebody traveled and brought it in, mosquito disease, like dengue or something like that. So the health department ends up referring these cases to our mosquito control. And what we have a protocol of, like, I want to say it's a couple of weeks or so, where they go out there and they'll, inspect the whole neighborhood, spray and, spray larvicide. They'll do a series of things. They have a protocol for it. I'm telling you stuff off the top of my head, so it may not be accurate. But they have a whole protocol for doing this. And that's to keep, the neighborhood, but also the larger community safe, to ensure that person who's sick gets bitten by a mosquito and the mosquito's killed in that area, and we don't have to worry about it, and they're not spreading. And that was one of the things we did, although we were highly aggressive back when Zika was here. We were very aggressive about doing that, and that helped us to eventually be the first place on earth to put an end to the outbreak of Zika.
Yeah, no, they're good. There's a lot of information that goes behind that, and how they plan their attack to mitigate these issues. So it is very important, and they're always tracking all the results back from the Department of Health. So,
all right,
kudos to the mosquito control.
Oh yeah, they do excellent work. All right, so next topic on board: home chemical collection. We have a really good program for residents where you can properly dispose of household chemicals that we don't want you throwing in your garbage, please. And not just chemical items, but certain other items like electronics. And most importantly, big cause of garbage truck fires, lithium batteries. Yeah. And we, at this point, we're like, you don't even have to think about it. If it's a battery, just bring it to one of our home chemical collection centers. We don't care if we'll deal with it, whether it's lithium or not. We'll make sure it's properly handled, properly recycled, properly disposed of. So you don't have to think about it. But please, no lithium batteries in your garbage.
Yes.
Or your recycling.
That's what they call in the business a hot load, where all the garbage inside the truck sets ablaze, and they have to dump everything onto the ground to protect the driver as well as the vehicle. So please, refrain from putting any of those batteries. this is one of the great services that we have in the county. There are 2 permanent locations within the county. We have one in Doral, off of 58th Street, and then we have the other one down south next to the South Day landfill. They'll take all types of paints, pesticides, oils, greases, electronics, as you said. So there's a lot of information that's going. If you go to the website now, one of the great things they've done right now is that back then, let me just take a step back. Back then, they would create a static list of all the items that
Chem Again.
The Chem Again program. Right. This is one of the programs that's free
to residents.
And not just to the folks that we service in the county, but
all Miami-Dade residents.
Miami-Dade County residents. Okay. So let's say you want to bring all these items. If they are unused or slightly used, they will be saved in a certain area at the center, and we will take inventory of that list. Now, before we would take a static list, which will get updated once a week. So you could go thinking that these items are there, and when you get there, it's gone. Here, they will actually scan it, take a picture of it, put it on the website, and it's updated real time. Real time, correct. So at least it gives you an idea if it's there or not. Now, what's the benefit of having this? I have kids. You have your son, right? Kids are in school. They do projects and all. So you want to buy paint, you're going to have to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, maybe Walmart, one of these locations. But you got to pay. Now, you can go to one of our centers. If they have paint available, go take one of the paint cans for free, and you can use it. And, it goes back to the whole reduce, reuse, recycle, right?
This is reuse.
You're reusing. So it's it is one of my favorite services that we provide in Miami-Dade County. And again, it's, the great word that we love to use.
Free, the magic word.
It's the magic word. It's free. So by all means, all county residents, you will be asked to show your license just to make sure you're a Miami-Dade County resident, and then you are able to use the facility.
Yeah, this is a great program. We've had the Chem Again program for a while where people can get free items, but we always had that little bit of a bottleneck, I guess, for lack of a better word, where it was updated once a week. And, as soon as the update was posted, the items or item that you were looking for on that list might be gone. Yeah. But now it's updated in real. Now you can go to the website and just, hit the update button constantly on your drive. Drive safely, so don't do it unless you stop. Hit the update button and see if the items are available, and you can go there and.
And before it would tell you on the static list, it would tell you can of paint. That's it. Now you actually see what brand, the amount.
Yeah.
As far as the how much the quantity is, and any information that you need, it's there on the website, so you can make a decision, right? But besides the home chemical, that's again the Chem Again. That's a great service that we provide. But the home chemical, going back to that service, in addition to the 2 locations, we sometimes have mobile events, where once a month we'll be at one of our trash and recycling centers, and you can bring your items to that location.
And it might be closer to your house than one of our permanent locations.
Exactly. Maybe closer to your house. And they are doing paper shredding at these locations.
That's right. I almost forgot about that, the paper shredding this year.
Paper shredding as well. So if you have to get rid of that, that's another opportunity to go there. Now,
open to all Miami-Dade residents, by the way.
Open to all Miami-Dade residents, but if you're not one of our service customers, you cannot use the TRC, but you can drop off the stuff. Drop off the event, because they're normally to the side of the entrance.
Yeah, they're not all the way in. So
correct.
All right, Robert, we're almost out of time. But I'm glad you mentioned the mobile events.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. And please, quick thing, as far as recycling is concerned, I want to give one great news. Our contamination rate continues to drop. It is down at 36.5%. It has dropped another 2% from the last study that we've done. So we need to make sure that everyone puts the right things in the containers. No plastic bags. That is the worst thing you can put in the containers.
Yeah.
Thank you, residents, our customers. You're doing a great job.
All right. So now that we're all at the end of our time, where can people learn more about us, our Department of Solid Waste Management?
Well, you can go to any of our social media platforms. You got at Miami-Dade Solid Waste on Facebook and Instagram, as well as at Miami-Dade SWM on X, or formerly known as Twitter. Call 311. And for mosquito control, you can go to miamidade.gov/mosquito. And at social media at 305 Mosquito on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And
of course, always visit our website, miamidade.gov/solid waste. Robert, thanks for coming again.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And thank you for watching. And this is Frank Calderon, and I keep, you know what, I'm gonna have to write down that saying that Michael has about when you hug somebody, don't be the first one to let go. There's a certain way, there's an actual phrase, I never remember it. I have to just paraphrase it.
I'll leave you with this one. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Okay, Casey Kasem.
Rest in peace.
All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.